Hello everybody. In this video here I'm going to be brief and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the trig properties. So basically we're going to be doing SOHCAHTOA, right? So I'm going to be very brief here. So I'm going to draw a triangle here, and if it looks like it's a right triangle, it is, all right? So I don't have to put that mark in there. So I'm going to just pick some numbers here. So I'm going to pick 13, 7 and 8, okay? But actually let's try this here. So let's just say this is an unknown. So let's just call this x. And question is asking me to find this x. So if I have two legs in a right triangle, I should be able to find the third leg. And basically you're going to use that a squared equals b squared plus c squared business, or c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So basically what it is the hypotenuse square is equal to the square of the other two sides added together. So this is going to be x squared equals 13 squared minus 7 squared, which is equal to I think it should be 120, but let's just make sure. So 13 squared I know is 169 minus 7 squared. So this is 120. So x is equal to square root of 120. Technically it should be plus or minus. Okay, you guys learned this in algebra, but since this is a distance, we're just going to keep the positive value. So this is going to be roughly about 10.9 something. Okay, and if this is in centimeters, this will be in centimeters. If this is in meters and meters, this will be in meters, right? So you have to have the same units. Okay, so that's one example. So let's just do let's just say I'll keep 7 here, centimeters, and I'll just put I don't know, maybe 9 centimeters here. Okay, and all right, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to find this angle here. I'm going to call it theta or x or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so if I want to find that angle, right, I technically don't have to have this leg here. Okay, I don't have to have that. I just need 2 of the 3 legs, right? So if I do 9 here, this might not work because we know that this should be about 10. So I'm just going to erase that, and I'm going to keep it like this. Okay, because if I put 9 here, 9 squared plus 7 squared is not 13 squared. So I'm going to try to find out what this angle here. Now, according to SOHCAHTOA, okay, it looks like I'm looking for an angle, right? And I have the opposite from the angle, and I have the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the leg that's across from the 90. So if I'm looking at here, it looks like it's the opposite and the hypotenuse. So I think I have to use so. So that's when I use the sine function. So sine of this angle is equal to 7 over 13. Okay. Now the question is that how do I find this angle here? Well, this is where you have to go in your calculator and use the inverse of sine. So, and I'll show you that on the calculator that I have here. Okay, so I should have the calculator here. Okay. So I'm going to erase this stuff here. So basically, if you want to find the angle, so you have to go to mode and make sure you're in degree mode. Okay, so see, I'm not in degree mode here. Okay, so you have to be in degree mode. So I need to use the computer to do that. I guess the mouse doesn't work on this. Okay, so I'm in degree mode, and okay. So now if you want to find the inverse sine of that, so you do second, okay, sine. Okay, so it says sine -1. So you do inverse sine, and you do 7 over 13 in there. So you do 7 divided by 13. Okay, and if you're in degree mode, you should get your answer in degrees. So it's about 33 degrees, 32.58. Okay, so that's one example. Now let's do another example. let's say I have 8 centimeters here, and I have 10 centimeters here. I'm sure I can figure this out. And I'm trying to figure out this angle here. Okay, so if I'm looking at this angle, I can see the opposite side from the angle, and I can see the adjacent, right? So opposite and adjacent, opposite, adjacent, that's a tangent. So I can do tangent of that angle is opposite over adjacent. So opposite is 10 over adjacent, which is 8. Now, if I want to find this angle, I do the same thing I did with sine. So I do the inverse tangent this time of 10 over 8. Okay? So for that, you're going to do second tan, and you're going to put in 10 over 8, and you should get your answer. So that's another example. Well, what happens if we have the angle and we have to find one of the other legs? So let's say I have this angle here as 30 degrees, and I have this here as 4 meters, and the question is asking me to find this one here. So I'll call this x, and once I find this one, I can also find this one, or vice versa. So I'm gonna concentrate on that one. So it looks like I have the angle. Okay, I have the side opposite the angle, and I have the hypotenuse, right? So I have the opposite and the hypotenuse, right? Okay, so this looks like it's a sine function. Okay, so I'm going to do sine of 30 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, right? Now, if I want to solve this the quick way, I can just multiply both sides by x and divide by sine 30, or you can just swap these two here. So x is 4 over sine of 30. So sine of 30 has to stay together, and that should give you about 8. Or if in this case here, if you know your 30, 60, 90, and 45, 45, 90, you should have known that this side here is going to be twice as much as that side here. Okay? And that should do it for this video, right? All right, I'll see you tomorrow.